Hey everybody, welcome back to Tom's Movie Channel. I'm Tom Hunyadi. Hope you all are doing well. I want to thank you all for subscribing, watching the videos, hitting that like button, and all that good stuff. Really appreciate you guys being here. Today I want to do part 2 of my series, 5 favorite films from each year I've been alive. This episode's going to be 1974, which was a fantastic year in films. Now, this was kind of a tough one. A lot of good stuff out there, but I've narrowed it down. For every year that I'm doing this, I kind of have an idea of a lot of the films that I'm going to choose. Some are tougher than others. I've done the list for like the next 25 years or whatever already, and especially in the 80s when the nostalgia, starts to kick in. Films that I've watched, nonstop as a kid in the 80s, and then films that I watched nonstop as a young adult in the 90s too that I absolutely adore, and can't wait to get to those videos. But right now we're at 1974, and first film I want to talk about is Bob Fosse's follow-up to Cabaret, and that is Lenny, starring Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman plays Lenny Bruce. You also have Valerie Perrine, who plays his wife in the film, and this was an excellent black and white film. I'm glad they actually did this in black and white. It really, really works for this film. It's kind of shot almost documentary style, almost in a way, kind of mean streets, but not really, but documentary style nonetheless. And I really enjoy Dustin Hoffman's performance in this film. He's fantastic as Lenny Bruce, and it's wonderful to see his how his performance, from beginning of the film to the end of the film, and he just knocks this out of the park. Dustin Hoffman, a lot of great male performances that year, right? But Valerie, she is also wonderful in this film too. I don't want to forget about her performance because that's very worthy of high praise as well. So, like I said, Bob Fosse, he this was his follow up to the award winning Cabaret, well deserved. And if you haven't seen Lenny, and if you're a fan of stand up comics, this is really where it started. I mean, everybody was inspired and by Lenny Bruce to push the envelope, and he really pushed the envelope. So check this out. Now, I've said before on other shows, including my friend Joe Mayo's show, especially when we do the live streams, and I've talked about how comedies. I like comedies a lot, but it's not my favorite genre of film. However, in 1974, one man filmed two of my favorite comedies of all time, and I'm going to talk about both of them because both of them are on my list. Okay, first up, let's talk about Blazing Saddles. Wow, what a movie! You want to talk about films that could probably never be remade? This probably should be one of them. This is just a fantastic cast. With Gene Wilder, Cleavon Little, Slim Pickens, on and on and on. Alex Karras, just phenomenal. Mel Brooks. You got Harvey Korman, Madeline Kahn, who's just everything from the bottom, no, everything from the waist down is kaput. Just there's so many repeatable lines in this film. It's truly wonderful. However, you really couldn't do a film like this today. But Gene Wilder is fantastic. The chemistry between Cleavon Little and Gene Wilder is really good, and so many scenes in this film. Just you can't help but laugh nonstop. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the ending of the movie, but other than that, everything leading up to the ending is great. I mean, hey, listen, the campfire fart scene. I mean, who every time, every time. you know, excuse me while I whip this out. I mean, this is just comedy gold. Blazing Saddles. Okay. The other film from Mel Brooks that year. Okay, Young Frankenstein. Okay, again, uh, Gene Wilder here. You got Peter Boyle, Marty Feldman. You got Cloris Leachman. You go Madeline Kahn again, Terry Garr. You know, on and on. Right, just fantastic. A nice little cameo from Gene Hackman. But Peter Boyle and you know Marty Feldman, you know I think they steal the show here. Gene Wilder again is you know is fantastic, but this is again you know quotable film, right? Nice knockers. I mean, it's on and on quotes that you could do from this film. Rolls in the hay. um, Good stuff. You know, Mel Brooks. You know, with Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles, he was just on a creative role, and this is again, and I think it's another masterpiece right here. Okay, Young Frankenstein. Now, you know these lists, you know, from year to year, sometimes they might have an oddball film in here, and this is going to be no exception because this film I absolutely adore, but not a lot of people may have heard of it or seen it. Maybe you've heard of it but never seen it, and that's going to be Brian De Palma, Phantom of the Paradise. This movie is a trip. I absolutely adore this film. Paul Williams, before he became a big star, before he was on every TV show, every you know comedy special, you know, writing songs for hit songs for band after band after band, musician after musician. He's here. The songs he writes for this film is fantastic. Now, this film should have came out a couple years prior, but it was plagued with lawsuits, most notably with the Swan Song label that's in the film because you know that was the name of Led Zeppelin's label, right? Swan Song. But but man, this Blu-ray is jam packed with special features and but Paul Williams is like I said, he's great. William Finney, who was a regular in Brian De Palma's early films, and he plays kind of like the Phantom. He's an inspiring, you know, songwriter, musician, and makes a deal with the devil, right? And you know you have to really watch this to see it. I mean there's songs that parody 50s, songs that parody you know Beach Boys type 60s, kind of like glam rock, right? Kind of like horror metal. So this is just fantastic, and I think everybody, especially if you're a fan of Brian De Palma, check this film out if you haven't already. Phantom of the Paradise. Okay, number one. All right, might not surprise too many people, but it comes from this box set right here. Okay, and that's The Godfather Part Two, Francis Ford Coppola's film. Robert Duvall, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Diane Keaton. Um, Fantastic cast. Um, is it better than part one? Maybe. Is it more enjoyable? You know, there's so many things you can say. I mean, the sequels in general, right? They're not always better than the original, and I'd say that this one might have a slight edge where part two is better than part one. But I think part one is the more for me. I think part one is you know the more enjoyable film. I think part two does have some drawn out scenes in there. Maybe it might be a little too long. And listen, I enjoy every minute of this film. Don't get me wrong. I'm just nitpicking here, here and there. But you know, Pacino's great. Robert De Niro plays the young Vito Corleone in this film. You know, you got the you know Cazale in here as well. And don't forget, you know, with Cazale, you know, playing Fredo. I mean, the scenes between you know Michael and Fredo in this movie Godfather Part 2 are hands down some of the best acting you'll see in any film. Like I said, Robert De Niro playing the young Vito Corleone. I love those scenes where he goes back to Sicily, and he gets his revenge, and and with doing that, you get a sense of you know how he survives right in New York or growing up, and where how he becomes the Godfather, and really just an enjoyable scene. I mean, well deserved Best Supporting Actor for Robert De Niro. And listen, you, you gotta love the Godfather Part Two. Uh, and I hope you do out there. If you do, let me know. If you're not a fan, if you prefer the first one over the second one, or second one over the first one, I don't care, just as long as you enjoy both films. The third one, well, that's a different story. Okay, well, that's 1974 for this episode. I'll be back soon with 1975. Take care, everyone.